morning. How nice to see all of you. Thank you. Good morning. A warm welcome to all of you to Coral Gables Congregational Church. We are part of the United Church of Christ, and as we say every week, no matter who you are or where you are on your life journey, you are welcome here, and we truly, truly mean it. So a special warm welcome to all of our visitors and guests. We are so delighted to have you with us on this day, and we also extend a warm welcome to so many who are worshiping with us Sunday after Sunday online from around the world. We are grateful for your presence as well. I would ask now if you would please sign in. Let us know of your presence today. You will see in the pews there are some red tablets. If you will give us your name and perhaps some more information if we don't have that information on file here. And as you're sending those pads down the pews, be sure to check the names of folks around you so that you can greet each other by name during and following our service. We also want to say a very, very warm welcome to the Reverend Jean Simpson. Jean is the former regional minister of the Florida Conference of the United Church of Christ. She's now doing transitional ministry, and she is here. She's going to lead clergy from the United Church of Christ tomorrow in boundary training. So, Jean, would you please stand so we can say welcome, and so glad to have you with us. I also encourage you now, if you have a Facebook page or Instagram or any of those other things that people have, to go on and let folks know that you are here worshiping with us today in this church. Following our service, I hope all of you, family and friends alike, will join us in the fellowship hall for a time of some refreshments and informal conversation. Visitors and guests, we would especially love to have you there. And visitors, we have a special table for you in the fellowship hall. Drop by. We have a small gift for you and some information if you would like. Also, this afternoon at around 12:15, 12:20, depending on how much you talk in the fellowship hall, we have a very special Food for the Soul. It's telling the story of two students in Chicago and explores some real critical issues around the nurture and the care and the education of young African American men. Jillian Smith, who is with us right here, a member of our congregation and works with City Year, is going to lead us in that film. She has a special partnership with that, which I'm sure you will hear more about, and then we will reflect on that. So come, enjoy some lunch, and see this very important film. Then at 4:30 this afternoon at Temple Judea, right here in Coral Gables, we will gather as an interfaith community to remember 9/11 and to remind ourselves that out of that horrible tragedy that day, that we are called to live together as brothers and sisters. Anyone interested in church membership, this Wednesday, September 14th at 6:30, join us in Havoc Horse Lounge for an inquirers gathering. If you're interested in inquiring more about church membership, who we are, what we value, what we think, and so forth, come and join us. We'll even buy you dinner, so we'd love to have you. And finally, next Sunday, Spirit Sunday, and the installation of our new associate pastor, Aaron Lauer. It's all about connections. Come and learn more about how you can connect with one another and the church. And at the end, following the service and the installation, we have a potluck. Bring a dish to share. Drop it off in the kitchen as you come in to worship. Go back out, and there will be this wonderful spread, because I know what great cooks we have here. And then you can take a tour of our newly renovated Early Childhood Center, and there's going to be a bunch of Scrabble games going on. So please be sure to join us. Friends, on this anniversary of 9/11, we indeed remember so many who were affected by all that happened that day. And so today we come in remembrance and in hope and in unity. We are so grateful as we remember the events that took place those 15 years ago, that today we continue to work toward reconciliation, toward care and compassion and unity for one another. We are so honored and delighted today to have members of the Atlantic Institute, a Muslim community, here with us. So I'm going to ask that you all please stand so that we can say thank you. Thank you for being with us and honoring us with your presence. And of course, none of us can ever forget those heroic first responders, those individuals who gave their very lives in the hopes that they might save other lives. And there are those who continue to live in such a way, day after day, going out into the streets, into their community, to serve us and this community and to help us. And so we are indeed also very grateful to have with us today the Chief of Police for Coral Gables, Edward Hudak Jr. Would you please stand? And we are also so privileged to have Captain Alex Garces of the Coral Gables Fire Department. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And so indeed, friends, on this occasion of 9/11, we gather in memory, we gather in hope, and most of all, we gather in unity, being called as brothers and sisters. Let us be together in the spirit of worship. Mustafa?
Hello, everyone. I'm going to recite the call to prayer. Before I do, I'd like to translate the words that we can have better understanding. I'm going to recite, God is great, God is great, 4 times, Allahu Akbar. And Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is going to be 2 times, which is I bear witness there's no God except God. And the next one, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, with 2 times, means I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. And next one, 2 times again, Hayya ala salah, which is hurry to prayer or rise up for prayer. And next one, Hayya al falah, hurry to success. And we're finishing with again, God is greatest, Allahu Akbar. And then, La ilaha illallah, there is no God except God. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله
Please rise as you are able for the call to worship. Blessings without number.
Love unconditional.
Comfort in every hour and every need.
Mercy in the face of failure.
Come, let us worship our still speaking God.
We light a candle in remembrance for all those who suffered and died on September 11th, 2001 in New York, Pennsylvania, and at the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. We light a candle to remember those who still live and suffer because of the events of that day.
When we remember the stockbrokers, office workers, maintenance workers, bystanders, window washers, and all the others who work together so valiantly to help each other, we can say together, we remember great courage. When we recall the firefighters who rushed upstairs as most everyone else was racing out, we can say together, we remember selfless service. When we recall the police officers who stood to protect and defend the people and performed their duties until the towers came crashing down on top of them, we can say together, we remember selfless sacrifice for the safety of others. When we recall the thousands of workers, women and men, old and young, single, partnered and married, American-born, and those born in countries around the world who did not escape the buildings, we can say, we remember the loss of human life. When we recall those citizens who rushed to help, did all they could to help, we can say together, we remember and give thanks for commitment to those in distress. When we recall the people who stood in line at the nation's blood banks to make living donations from their very bodies, we can say together, we give thanks for those who live on to pass on life and love. When we remember the millions of Americans who gave so generously of their life and labor to endow funds to help the survivors and their families recover from their losses, we can say together, we are grateful for generosity.
Before this evening shadows fell, I reveled in the light of day. I rarely ever cried, my patience wasn't tried, and heroes never died. But if I had my way, things would be different. Danger wouldn't come from the sky of blue. Choices would be clear, strangers would be kinder, love a little blinder, as it saved the day. If I had my way. Every now and then it seems we live our lives to such extremes, racing all around, never homeward bound, losing what we found. But if I had my way, things would be different. No The lesson. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations are in uproar, the kingdoms totter, God's voice utters, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come behold the works of the Lord. See what desolations God has brought on the earth. God makes wars cease to the end of the earth. God breaks the bow and shatters the spear. God burns the shields with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Friends, listen. God is still speaking.
Won't you please join me in prayer? May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. As we indeed gather on this 15th anniversary of 9/11, our minds are turned to remembering. And I suspect that most of us have memories of that day, where we were, what we were doing, when those planes descended on their targets. I was just thinking, though, the other day, our young people who are in high school and younger have no memory of that day. They were either too young or not yet born. For others, the memory of these attacks has faded. It's become like a dimly remembered nightmare that one hopes to shake off before the dawn arrives. For more than just a few people in our nation, in our community, and perhaps even in this church, that is not the case. The visions on the television screen of dust-covered people fleeing the streets of Manhattan remain burned in our minds, as do images of a gaping hole in the Pentagon and of that plane crash in the Pennsylvania field. For some, even here among us, it was such a life-altering event that they changed their life midstream, choosing to become perhaps a firefighter or a police officer or EMT, so as to serve their community and their country as those heroic first responders did that fateful day. It also changed the lives of those who never again have felt truly secure, and of normal operating procedures at airports, government buildings, even amusement parks, and in our schools. I still remember my daughter Sienna's preschool asking us the next day to send with her a little bag with a picture of our family, a stuffed animal, and a small blanket for them to keep just in case another attack took place and parents became separated from their children. If that doesn't give you pause, I don't know what does. And I also know that day changed for my friend Mustafa and for those of you who are part of the Muslim community, the peaceful, compassionate, and loving Muslim community. I'm sure there are changes in ways that I cannot even imagine. As a Muslim speaker said a few years back, right here in this church, as we showed solidarity with our Muslim friends in the wake of that Florida man who was burning the Quran, he said that on 9/11, not only did those men hijack planes, but they hijacked my faith. And of course, for a significant number, this day does not just provoke memories of news. For them, the smell of smoke still stings their nostrils, while the absence of loved ones, co-workers, family, and friends has left an ever-present hole in their heart. Yet those of us who remember 9/11 may also remember those days immediately following that event. Do you remember the way people, not just here in America, but around the world, helped each other out? People started to hold doors for each other. They let cars cut in front of them. They started being a bit more kind. I remember well a local rabbi who shared in an interfaith service with me post 9/11, who said, "We may have come to this country on different boats, but we are all in the same boat now." Even other nations were showing solidarity with the U.S. In France, the newspaper made it clear in the headline atop that first page on September 12th, when it read, "Today we are all Americans." For a brief while after 9/11, it felt that way for many of us. But of course, those feelings didn't last. In our current fractious political climate, no one would dare dream of saying that we are all united or even respectful in our public discourse. And God only knows, we still have not really learned to be kind or gentle with one another. Since that time, we have experienced as a nation and as a people presidential debates and police shootings, the Pulse murders, political strife, racial tension, stress over Zika, arguments over who can and can't use bathrooms, how big a wall will be and who's going to pay for it, and concern over a football player standing, kneeling, or sitting. And that's just this year alone. So friends, what can we gain by once again remembering on this anniversary of 9/11? I dare say that at this 15-year mark, we do well to remember first and foremost those who died on that day in New York Towers and on a Pennsylvania hillside and at the Pentagon. We need to remember because they lived ordinary lives. They were just like us. They were cleaning women and men and office clerks and firefighters and police officers, stockbrokers and secretaries, janitors and security guards, sales associates and executives, IT guys and soldiers and pilots and custodians. They were Christians and Jews and Muslims and Buddhists, Hindus and Sikhs and every other religion and some none at all. They were young, they were old, they were men, they were women, and they were young. They were immigrants and natives, black, white, red, and yellow, and every single color in between. They were Republicans and Democrats and independents and socialists and communists and libertarians too. They were America as it really is, in all of its rich diversity, complexity, and openness. And in mourning them, we acknowledge what we truly are, what we truly should be and must be: an open, hardworking, innovative, energetic, diverse, caring, competent, even moral society that builds something much greater out of all of our differences than it ever could have been as one monolithic whole. And so maybe on this day, we seek hope in the unity that we find when we let go. when we let go of our need for more, of our need to build walls and feed fear. Because it is, in the end, fear that encourages us to build treasures on earth while others go hungry. And so here, right here in this sacred space, we declare that we will not fall prey to the fear that seems to infect our society. We will not let such fear run our lives. For as we read earlier in Psalm 46, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth be moved and though the mountains be toppled into the depths of the sea. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. We will not fear though the engines of war fire all around us, though buildings are struck and crumble, though the cry for vengeance becomes deafening, we will not fear, because the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. And though all that we thought we controlled before September 11, 2001 slips from our fingers, though the pain of this anniversary strikes an arrow of grief deep within our very hearts, we will not fear, because the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. In closing, I share with you one of the most poignant and amazing stories of hope and unity that came out of the events of 9/11. It's the story of a Jewish woman, Phyllis Rodriguez, and a Muslim woman, Aika El Wafi, both mothers. The Jewish mother lost her son in 9/11, and the Muslim mother's son was convicted and given a life sentence for his role in those events. When the two first met, they fell into each other's arms and shared their emotions. Eventually, they began to appear together in front of groups, inspiring everyone who sees them with a message of how love can repair a broken world. And so, my friends, maybe, just maybe, this is what this anniversary remembrance does for us. If those two women, who seemingly should be mortal enemies, can embrace and care and even love for one another, who are we to dare not do likewise? And maybe we do so even in the smallest of ways, holding a door for someone else, letting that car cut in front of us, just being kind. And maybe then we can look with steely-eyed resolve at the future to which God calls us. And one by one, as we let go of the things that we gasp out of fear, our swords, our stereotypes, our suspicions, we will find our hands open to serve, to heal, and to love. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold, and we will be peacemakers once more. May it indeed be so. Amen.
A Dios vivimos.
We light a candle in the hope that never again we will experience the pain and horror of terrorism on our soil. We light a candle in the hope that around the world, war, terrorism, violence, and injustice of every kind will cease.
Our hope is in you, O Lord our God, and in the one whom you have sent to us. Our hope may falter, but you, O God, never fail. You send forth light to encourage us and to light our way to the fulfillment of our hope. Loving God, we bow before you to thank you for the light of hope that you have sent and are sending into the world. Hope that is not lost, hope that life is worth living and meaningful for all, hope that we do not walk alone and that we are understood, hope that love will bring peace to each of us and our world.
even when the sun is not shining, even when we don't feel love, even when God is silent. We hope for a better world. We trust in the grace of God. We pray for peace and reconciliation. Even when we believe. Friends, let us give today in a spirit of hope, a spirit of trust, a spirit of prayer. Let us give today believing that God works in us and through our gifts, even when we can't always see it. For we have seen the sun, we have felt love, and we have heard God's still speaking voice many times before. Let us give today in a spirit of gratitude.
these gifts gratefully, and we dedicate them to the work of our congregation, welcoming the stranger and working for justice, honoring human wholeness and caring for our planet. Together, we seek to serve with ever greater love. Please remain seated for our hymn.
In the name of God, the most merciful, the most compassionate. And hold firmly to the rope of Allah altogether, and do not become divided. And remember the favor of Allah upon you when you were enemies, and He brought your hearts together, and you became, by His favor, brothers. And you were on the edge of a pit of the fire, and He saved you from it. Thus does Allah make clear to you His verses that you may be guided. O mankind, indeed, we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes, that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you, indeed. Allah is knowing and acquainted.
We light this candle of reconciliation, praying that it will light the way to a better world for our children and our children's children and all the children of God. We light this candle of reconciliation that we might become united in our work for peace and justice in our community, our nation, and our world.
We recall with joy the unity we felt in the outpouring of help, kindness, thoughtful words, and deeds from at home and around the world. We place fresh confidence in international organizations and conversations that bring the diverse gifts of the world to the problems of poverty, injustice, terror, and strife. Dare to dream for an era yet to come in which the slaughter of innocents, greed, the ambitions of power, and cultural, racial, and religious bigotries are but memories of a dim and unenlightened past.
Go with us now, O God, for we would be your people. Through our remembrance this day, make of us a people of hope and unity. Send us forth to serve.